SACP and alliance partners, or the alliance party leadership, will be commemorating the assassination of Chris Hani. The Communist Party leader was killed by a Polish immigrant, Janusz Walus, on this day in 1993. ANC leadership joined the SACP leadership in commemoration at Boksburg. SABC news reporter Samkele Maseko is now joining us for an update from Boksburg. Samkele, good morning and welcome to the show. So quickly tell us about the keynote address we understand would now be delivered by the Deputy President of the ANC, Paul Mashatile. Is it clear why it is not the President?
It's not yet clear why the President of the African National Congress and President of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, will not be present here to deliver a message of support on behalf of the governing party, as the keynote address will be delivered by the SACP's General Secretary, Soli Africa Mapaila, who will speak on the lives and times of the late General Secretary of the South African Communist Party and Chief of Staff of Umkhonto we Sizwe. But interestingly, that is not the only political formation that is commemorating the 30th anniversary of the assassination of the General Secretary of the SACP. The EFF, through their provincial chairperson, Nkululeko Dunga, who's also the MMC of Finance in Ekurhuleni, is also here, as there is a multi-party collaboration government or cooperative government in Ekurhuleni. But I'm first going to bring in Mr. Tinyigo Maluleko, who is the National Secretary of the Young Communist League, then bring in Nkululeko Dunga and also Jongezizwe Nhlabati on the shenanigans of the Ekurhuleni government and what's going on in this municipality. Mr. Tinyiko Ntini, just the essence of the lives and times of the General Secretary, looking at this cemetery and the state, deplorable state it's in, and how a liberation icon, where he remains, that gravesite, this cemetery, is not properly preserved by the government of the day in the municipality.
Good morning, Ngaman and the viewers. Maybe let me firstly start by correcting that I'm a CC member. I've handed over as the National Sec of the YCL. But indeed, it's a bit disappointing. You'll remember that following a few days after the Concord judgment, we've seen this memorial park, in particular here by the gravesite of our former General Sec, being vandalized, which were clearly just acts of provocation from the right-wingers and all those things, because their euphoria by the release of the assassin, I think, just went overboard. But there are discussions, obviously, with the city. As you know, that the city declared the freedom of the city to the former General Sec. It is in that fashion that as we commemorate this 30th anniversary, we are with the city of Ekurhuleni, with our alliance partners. So obviously, there are still discussions even in terms of the museum, and then there are still some touch-ups that needs to be done, and we hope that ultimately they will be able to then take care of this memorial park, because it's not about the struggle icon alone, Chris Hani. There are many heroes that are laid to rest here, and indeed we need to preserve their legacy, not only through acts, but even where they are resting, and make sure that the state is very much satisfied.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tinyigo, who is a CC member, Central Committee member of the South African Communist Party. I'm going to ask Mr. Nkululeko Dunga, who is the MMC of Finance and Provincial Chairperson of the EFF, and also Mr. Jongezizwe Nhlabati, to come forth, as he is the chairperson or acting chairperson of... I must pair the both of you, because the state of this municipality is deplorable. Coming here to Ekurhuleni, the grass is not cut, service delivery is at an halt. Your MMCs were not sewn in last week when the EFF MMCs were sewn in. You do have a voting relationship or a coalition of some sort in this municipality. What is truly going on? Because the citizens are suffering. There's no service delivery.
You will recall that last year we advanced a motion of no confidence against the then mayor. And that was informed precisely by the dire state of service delivery in the city, in the sense that there was no direction that the city is heading towards. And there was a strong view that the leadership that presided over the city was not fit for a purpose. And many political parties understood and converged to ensure that we raised that particular voice. We subsequently became successful, and we are now starting a journey of restoring the provision of services to the people. And all that we're appealing for is that let us be given the benefit of the doubt. with the new arrangement that is coming in and judge us based on what we are going to do effectively at the point where everything has been cleared.
Mr. Dunga, why are these coalition partners of yours not taking up MMC positions in Ekurhuleni? Only your MMCs and yourself were sworn in last week.
Yeah, you are asking for me to speak on behalf of the African National Congress, which I cannot do. But I am strongly in belief that whatever issues, whatever challenges that we have faced in the past will be addressed through the newly composed mayoral committee of the mayor, and that there will be a swearing-in process that undertakes in due course. Obviously, you would have noted last week there were many political programs, including the funeral service of the late CEO of the EHC in Ekurhuleni. So that could have been one of the reasons. But it would be extremely unfair for you to ask me on behalf of the ANC what could have been the reason when the leadership of the ANC is right next to me.
I'm asking you because there's an accusation that you are bulldozing when it comes to the MMCs, and you issued out a communique that was not agreed upon by coalition partners. The Super 7 have been left out of those ministerial positions. Patriotic Alliance is threatening of pulling out, not only in Ekurhuleni, but also in Johannesburg. Then you've got other smaller parties like Joe Mujapilo's party, whom feel as if they've been also sidelined, and it's just an EFF ANC show.
Yeah, well, the discretion in terms of the appointment of the mayoral committee lies with the mayor. So it will be extremely false even for you, Samkele, as a journalist who thoroughly knows the process and procedures of municipalities and the composition of governance, to attribute any of those announcements to ourselves.
Mr. Jongzizwe, why were your MMCs not sworn in last week?
There are a number of reasons, and I think in due respect, we are here to commemorate the late comrade Chris Hani, and I think we must do justice as media, not to cloud this thing with some of the challenges that are persisting with regards to the composition of the mayoral committee. And I do believe that we will find each other. In fact, Comrade Chris Hani reminded us that it is not about the perks of government, but it is about the social upliftment of the people. The ANC is not desperate for positions. All that we are saying is that any arrangement that we must enter into, all the parties into that arrangement must be comfortable, there must be fairness in the process. But there is a commitment to ensure that ultimately we have a functional city.
Mr. Jongzizwe, as much as we're commemorating Chris Hani, but we cannot leave contemporary issues facing the people. And that is when you look at the cemetery, the grass is not cut. It's deplorable. Go to Wadeville coming in here. The grass is not cut. Vegetation is not done. Service delivery is a sham. And those issues speak to the essence of the deployment that you and the EFF have done in the city. You've removed a government that was not providing services in your own words, but still, you, the EFF, the Super 7 and other parties are fighting over positions. Your MSs were not sworn in, and you are not providing a reason as to why you are not sworn in.
Samkele, we are not fighting over position, and that is why I'm saying to you, as for the ANC, it is not about the perks of government. It is about a genuine and a proper arrangement that we enter into. And I'm making a point to you that ultimately we will find each other, and in earnest, we will continue with the work of service delivery. By the way, MMCs don't cut grass. The mayor does not cut grass. We provide political leadership into the institution. And where we realize that things are moving at a slow pace, it is the responsibility of the political leadership to intervene in making sure that service delivery is expedited. So part of the things that we are going to do once all the dust has settled is to ensure strong political oversight on that which is the mandate of local government, which includes, amongst others, ensuring an environmentally friendly city. So the point I'm trying to make is that MMCs don't cut grass. The mayor does not cut grass. We do have an administration whose responsibility, by the way, is to ensure that on a day-to-day services are provided to the people. So let's not attempt, in all respect, to elevate the issue of us not having sworn in our MMCs into the mayoral committee as a reason the grass is not cut. We will sort that issue, but we are not dealing with it on a desperate mode.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mr. Dunga, MMC of Finance in that capacity. Have you looked at the state of finances of the city? Last I checked, the city was unable to pay service providers. How are the finances looking like since you've assumed office? Have you had that opportunity?
Yeah, we're obviously going into this knowing in terms of what are the financial standings of the city. As hence, it was extremely important for a different government composition be brought in to address most of these challenges that even ourselves with the Kida Jongizizwe having engaged in. Yes, they are not in good condition. We are mindful of that, and we are also extremely mindful of the fact that we would have to have interaction through a joint political discussion in terms of how we are going to aggressively tackle some of the immediate challenges that we are faced with, particularly a program of action that would center around revenue enhancement of the city, so that we can genuinely start directing and delivering to the citizens of Ekurhuleni, ensuring that there is quality services that Chris Hani and all the former Umkhonto weSizwe veterans and fighters would have actually advocated for.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Hopefully you won't have an issue passing an adjustment budget if you have to go to an adjustment budget, knowing that Jongizizwe is currently unhappy. He's just the chief whip. His comrades have not been sewn in.
With the MMC, I'm smiling.
They are running away. I don't know why.
No, there are no issues. I am smiling. I'm with the MMC.
Why did you remove him from the WhatsApp group?
He is in the WhatsApp group.
I'm in the WhatsApp group.
Let me see. Open your WhatsApp.
I'm in the WhatsApp group. I'll show you outside of this. You see, you have become a tabloid journalist now.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm just going to bring in the first Deputy General Secretary of the African National Congress, Nomvula Mokonyane, just to speak on the lives and times of Chris Hani as well. She's part of the ANC delegation deployed here to assist the ANC's treasurer, to assist the ANC's Deputy President, Paul Mashatile, who will be delivering a message of support on behalf of the ANC. Mokonyane, just the essence of the lives and times of Chris Hani and looking at the state of this municipality. Tunyane was a resident here. Service delivery has come to a sham, if one may say. It's deplorable when you look at from the local government elections in 2021 to where we are here now.
Thank you very much for inviting us. Yes, a lot has been done. 30 years of the assassination of Chris Hani and towards 30 years of democracy. Of course, there are those areas that you can say he didn't die in vain. Because we can't wash away, Samkele, everything. In the course of effecting the emancipation of the people of South Africa, there has been challenges. And with the maturity of democracy, you've also seen the emergence of different political parties. That's democracy. We're not in a one-party state. So what is of importance is to ensure therefore that parties exist and have respect for each other, and that there should be rules for the existence of those parties. We are in Ekurhuleni, the city of Chris Hani, the city of OR, the city of Maqowa. A lot still needs to be done, but you know that other than just having a coalition government, this is one municipality that has performed well. It has performed well. What it is faced with now are the challenges of being under the DA leadership that we know is a very racist leadership that invests on development in and maintenance of white suburbs and ignores everything. Just as we have seen in Cape Town, Gugulethu, Nyanga, from your Stellenbosch and them. And hence our commitment to say we must continue to find better solutions of directing services to those that continue to be disadvantaged. And in his memory, we hope also that the ANC will renew itself, its public representatives will be accessible to communities, and lastly that in the quest to find a better way of delivering services, there will be also an arrangement that regularizes coalitions, so that then they do not just become, a popcorn kind of a thing that emerges and bursts. There must be stability even where there are coalitions.
Ma'am Konyane, when you look at the ANC's arrangement with the EFF, is it working for the ANC? Looking at the city of Johannesburg, Mukhale City, Mfuleni, coming here to Ekurhuleni, is this newly found relationship with the EFF working for you as an organization and for the people?
The NC has no relationship with the EFF. The NC is working with all minority parties except the Action SA and the DA. And remember, the NC has been working with the smaller parties, what was called here in Ekurhuleni, the Black Minority Caucus, even in Johannesburg. The EFF has also joined that space, and it is through that you find that it is not only the EFF and the NC that constitutes what must be a government in a municipality. Hence, we are saying as the NC, these issues of coalitions do need some regulation so that then we do not also undermine the choices of the people. The NC might not have won outright majority, but it still enjoys it being the party that got the highest votes. And hence it's committed to work with everybody, especially those that would agree on what will be the urgent priorities at that given time. So this notion that is being harped, that the NC is in coalition with the EFF, the EFF is amongst other smaller parties that the ANC is working with in the municipalities. There is no coalition agreement.
But Panyaza Lusufi, your provincial chairperson, says there's most likelihood after 2024 is that the ANC in Gauteng and the EFF will go into a coalition.
I'm one soldier that doesn't go to battle to lose. You don't do that. You don't go to battle. Even under the tyranny of apartheid with stones and lids of dustbin, we never, Chris Hani never thought that he will wage a struggle to lose. We go into 2024 with an intention to win. We will humble ourselves before our people. We have made commitments out of our conferences. We're busy, we're hard at work on the ground, reconnecting with the masses of our people, supporting civil society. What Panyaza is alleged to have said is not a position of the NC. No self-respecting army goes to battle to lose.
Last question, Mrs. Mokonyane. Your president, Archbishop Thabo Makgoba, says the ANC must hold its president and the president of the republic accountable. He's not provided sufficient answers as to why he was found with millions and millions of dollars, which he says was about $580,000, approximately 10 million rands, in his house in Palapala. What do you say when the church leaders are saying the president must be held accountable? Your own former president is saying that the ANC is doing what they did with former President Zuma by shielding and defending the president at all costs.
Look, there are institutions and systems that are in place in our country that deal with these kind of issues. The ANC itself has got the Integrity Commission that has to deal with these issues. Unfortunately, I didn't listen to the sermon of Archbishop Thabo Makgoba. I was in another church service, but this is what one is picking up. He's entitled to his views, and hence the ANC is quite committed in engaging with everybody, and rather than responding in public, we respect him, we respect the church, we respect other leaders. We need to, just as we have always done, to sit down and talk to one another and explain to each other as to why do we find ourselves in this situation and the position that the ANC is taking. Everybody in this country is entitled to say or express a view against the ANC, but also the ANC must be given a chance to be heard, and the ANC must also take heed of things that are being raised without actually being defensive, but there must be mutual respect.
When are you having an engagement with the former President Mbeki on his letter about the president?
You remember we agreed and we told you that we are meeting with all our presidents. Indeed, we'll be meeting with Comrade Thabo Mbeki. We'll not be writing a letter. He's our leader. He's an elder. We'll sit down with him and interact very soon. Very soon. The process has unfolded. The SG is facilitating that.
Next 2 weeks, next 48 hours, next 72 hours?
After the receipt of the letter, we are processing that. You know, this was a Holy Week. We were all in church, and I'm sure even with him. And we are looking forward to empower each other, because he attends our NEC meetings, he participates in conference, he is observing from where he is what the things that bring discomfort, and those things must be attended to without creating unnecessary tension between Comrade Thabo Mbeki, just as we have said even with Comrade Jacob Zuma, just as we said even with Comrade Nelson Mandela when other people were saying his time is up. We appealed that give Comrade Thabo Mbeki the space to lead. Same as we said also with Comrade Jacob Zuma, that give him the space to lead and become a support system and a counselor. And we look upon his wisdom, Comrade Thabo Mbeki. I'm sure the outcome of that meeting will make all of us to be better people.
You invited him back after a sabbatical of 10 years during the era of former President Zuma.
That's typical of the ANC. The ANC doesn't discard of its own dependable forces. He's a dependable force.
Thank you very much, Moses Mokwanyana, the first Deputy General Secretary of the ANC, speaking on current contemporary politics facing and plaguing the governing party.